Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day. You know, it's a beautiful afternoon down here in sunny South Florida. Temperature's about 80 degrees, so I'm enjoying this weather. I know some of you, have gone to see snow this year, and that's a beautiful thing, but I'm just a South Florida born bred guy that loves the sunshine. I love the heat. I love the weather. I'm a South Florida born and bred guy. I've seen snow, and that's beautiful and it's fine to visit and this, that, and the other. But I've gotten older and my blood is thin, and man, I cannot deal with that cold weather. I got my coffee this afternoon, and I got my coffee. And I'm ready to go. Now, I want to start by giving a shout out to a really good friend of mine, been a friend of mine for years. Back when I was trying to do the music thing, this person was doing the music thing as well. Always been a great stand-up guy. And this is one of my promotions, or one of the shout outs that I'm going to give that's not necessarily local. But he was born and raised right here in South Florida, but he's out in the Dallas area now. And, he was a barber down here in conjunction with doing music. He was a barber down here in South Florida as well. And he's moved out to the Dallas area, and he's doing pretty well out there. And, and if you're out in the Dallas area and you need a really good haircut, the name of his barbershop is Level Up Live Pro Barber Studio. Again, that's Level Up Live Pro Barber Studio. The address is 1520 South Center Street, Arlington, Texas, 76015. Again, that's Arlington, Texas, 76015, 1520 South Center Street. And if you need to get in contact with them prior to you being, going to the shop, his number is 214-604-1234. Again, that's 214-604-1234. His name is Bobby Stanley. A lot of you know him as Bobby Cognac. And on his Instagram, it's OG Bobby Cognac. And on his Facebook, it's OG Bobby Cognac. And so if you're ever out in the Texas area and you need to get freshened up, you need to get a fresh cut, you have an event to go to, or you just want to get a nice haircut, go holler at Bobby at Level Up Live Pro Barber Studio. Just got done talking with him. Again, a great guy, but the topic, the subject matter today is choose your battles wisely. Choose your battles wisely. So why is that significant, Jonathan? Well, I'm not saying anybody's like me, but if you're anything like me, I have a history of anger issues. Was just mad at the world and didn't understand. And I was listening to a guy one time, and the guy kind of broke some things down and explained some things, because I had no clue where, this anger was coming from. And I was listening to this guy, and he was talking about, the stages of anger for people like myself. When I was younger, I didn't have a father. My father died when I was 7 years old. So the way he broke it down and explained it, it made a lot of sense. He said, you find this in a lot of children that have had a parent pass away, or that's missing one of the parents in the household. He said it starts with um, in the beginning, confusion and not really understanding, what's really going on. And then that confusion goes, it goes into, hurt, and pain of losing that parent or that person, whoever that might be in your life. It goes on to, pain and hurt. And I know in my upbringing, I had friends of mine, across the street from me. I talked about this in one of my other lives. I had friends of mine across the street that I grew up with, and they had, their father, they had their mother in the house, and I was always able to look at their family dynamic, and as a child, I knew that that wasn't my dynamic, and so I was measuring myself, to their family setting, because it wasn't my family setting. And for the life of me, I just could not understand as a child, why isn't that my family setting? Why isn't my house? Why don't I have a mother and a father in the house? And the beauty of it is that because they were such good friends of mine, I can remember vividly that their dad, if they went to my first time going to Tampa, going to the old Sombrero Stadium, was with their dad, was with David Bowles Jr., Michael Bowles, and their dad, David Bowles Sr. He took me to a game with them at the old Sombrero Stadium. First time ever going to the Classic was with them. Going up to Summerfield, which is right outside of Ocala, which they had family there, I went with them. So I had role models or other people's dad that assumed the role of, as much as they could, of being a father figure. But again, the problem was that here I am, I'm measuring. I know that something is different about my house. Something is different about my household than theirs. And I always wanted what they had in their family dynamic. Now, so going back to the anger. So here it is. My father passes away when I'm 7 years old. It's confusing. I don't necessarily really understand it. But then it translates into, it progresses into hurt and pain. And so here I am, a child, not mature enough to process, this mentally, not mature enough to process this emotionally. So it progresses into anger. I meant to hurt. I'm sorry. It progresses into hurt and pain. So after the hurt and pain stage, it goes to anger. Now, as a child, again, I can't process this information. I can't process all of these things because I'm not mature enough, and here I am. I'm left with this, this undiscovered anger. I have this anger that's going on, and I don't know it at the time. I don't know that, I'm going through life mistreating people or you blink your eye at me, or you hardly touch me and I'm blowing up. I don't know that because I had this anger, this unresolved anger, and I'm dealing with it for so long, and to the point that it's become second nature. All I know is how to be angry. And for the life of me, I just do not understand it. For years, I did not understand it, man. I always thought that, it's not me. Listen, once I became an adult, my attitude was, hey, man, I'm grown. I deserve the right to be angry. You can't tell me I can't be angry. And I can cuss you out and jump on your head, or you can jump on my head, or however we're going to handle this situation. It doesn't matter, man. I've earned the right to be angry. Meanwhile, this anger is taken away from my life. This anger is robbing me of so many things that I could have enjoyed in life. Because here it is, that's my answer. That's my solution. I'm going to beat you to the punch. I'm going to show you how much I am right, how much I am afforded this luxury of being angry. I didn't know. I didn't understand. That's why I'm so grateful for the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and a 4th step and the 12 steps, because I learned a lot about Jonathan. You know, see, I was so good at psychology. I should have been a psychologist. I was so good until I'd read your mind. You know, I'd be able to look at your situation and assess your situation, and I could tell you what's wrong with you. I did that for a lot of years, man. Not what's wrong with Jonathan. I'm not even focusing on my shortcomings, my issues, what's going on in my life, right? My job is to solve the problems of the world. My job is to tell everybody what's wrong with them. Meanwhile, my life is in total chaos. Can't see the forest for the trees. Yeah. Man, that anger. Choose your battles wisely. It was a process. I learned some things about Jonathan. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm perfect at it and that I don't get angry. I'm not going to tell you that, because I'd be lying. What I can tell you is that God, through the 4th step and the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th step, has given me some awareness. See, first of all, dealing with life, I had to get a God connection. Because I've said it before, I need God to protect me from me. Because the way I think, the way I see things is totally out of whack. It's misconstrued. I'll make the wrong decision and the wrong choice every single time, left to my own devices. I found that out because what I found out that from the time that I was a child, in going forward, I have a damaged brain. See, the things that I talk about, I don't ask people to agree with it. It's not up for debate, because this is my life. These are the things that have worked for me. If it works for you and however you do it, perfectly fine. I'm not going to debate with you. Everybody doesn't have to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting to get sober. They don't. I did. That's my story. So I'm not asking people to be in agreement with what worked for me, because again, I tell you all the time, I share my experience, not my opinion, because my opinion, we can debate that for over and over and over. My experience is where the facts are. My experience is where the truth lies. That's not debatable. You can't debate my experience. So, this anger. Here it is, this anger, man. And again, you don't take a 20-year path out in the woods and come out in 10. I'm still way more familiar with what it is to make the wrong decision, what it is to be angry, what it is to be mad, what it is to be miserable. I'm still way more familiar with that than I am with making right choices, right decisions, and applying the solution. Because I spent over 30 years in the street, and I just told you, I reflected back to my childhood. And I say it all the time that we can do anything over and over again, and it can become habit. It becomes second nature. That's how we operate. We've been doing it so long until it seems right. Again, in the literature, it says I tried to hold on to my old ideas, and the result was nil until I let go. Absolutely, right? See, for a very long time, I thought that the way I thought was the right way to think. for a very long time. And the reality of it is that no, I had a way of thinking and a way of doing things for years that just was not the right way to do it. Just wasn't the right way to do it. Choose your battles wisely. Now, why is that the topic, and how did anger come into play? Right? Because biblically, it talks about having a just balance. I honestly believe that steps 1 through 12 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is constructed to give me a sense of balance. That's what I never had in my entire life. I never had balance. I've never met a crack addict that can smoke one piece of crack and balance it out, and they're going to save the rest of their money, and they're going to take, they made $1,000 and they're going to take, $900 home and spend $100. I've never seen that. I've never seen anybody balance that or manage that ever. I haven't seen it. I've never been balanced. That's why I say that, listen, I'm not telling you that I won't get angry or I'm not going to be angry, but I have some awareness now. I have some awareness that when it crops up, I see it. It's not that I see it as I'm an adult and I can get angry and you just got to listen to what I got to say. And if you don't like it, I'm just going to over aggressively bully you into thinking or feeling how I feel, because I'm going to get so chaotic. See, a lot of that has to do with emotional maturity. When I'm emotionally immature, I throw temper tantrums at 50 years old, at 56 years old. Temper tantrums. There are some women I've dated since I've been sober that'll tell you, man, I've seen him throw a temper tantrum since he's been sober. It's a process. You don't take a 20-year path out in the woods and come out in 10. It's a process. I believe that I've gotten better. I believe that I'm getting better. But it's a process. It's a practice. Michael Jordan did not become Michael Jordan overnight. He did not hit game-winning shot in Game 6 overnight. He practiced shooting free throws, shooting shots in his backyard over and over, repetitiously, over and over and over and over again, until we saw the finished product of him hitting a shot in Game 6. You don't take a 20-year path out in the woods and come out in 10. You don't spend 30 plus years in your life. See, a lot of people say, well, God can touch you and he can change it within the blink of an eye. Yes, he can. But because God takes on the role of being a father and we take on the role of being his children, right? Your children, you got to discipline your children. You don't expect your children to automatically be a certain way. You got to continually work with them, and God is the same way. We got to earn some things. We got to work towards some things. Yes, he can change it within a blink of an eye, but how much would we appreciate it? Because if you know anything like I know, you know that if you give a child something prematurely or they haven't earned it, they're not going to appreciate it, because I'm a product of that. My mom would buy me a brand new toy. I'd break it the same day. But you know why? Because I knew I'd get another one. Just imagine if God operated in that fashion with us. I wouldn't appreciate nothing. I wouldn't have an appreciation for anything. So, going back to the anger. I'm not telling anybody that I'm not going to get angry, but I talk about a just balance, right? See, going forward in the process, I should have less and less days of anger and more days of peace and understanding. And I've experienced some of the peace and understanding. Less than the days of anger. See, one time it was just all anger, man. All anger. That was my solution. Get mad. Show them. They're going to learn today. That was my attitude. Always. Always. Once I learned some things about Jonathan and going forward, what I found out was that it's all about a just balance. It's not to say I'm not going to get mad. It's not to say that I'm not going to be hurt. It's not to say that I'm not going to experience, some emotional pain, right? It's how I deal with it. It's my actions, my course of action behind those feelings now, as opposed to anger is my go-to. It's lessened because my anger only hurt me. My attitude only destroyed me. There were so many times I'd get rageful and get so angry, and the consequence behind my ragefulness and my anger, I suffered. The people that I was angry with, man, they were in peace. They were at peace. They've gone on. They're living life. A lot of my anger, man, I ended up in the county jail. And these people are chilling. And here I am. I'm in the county jail. I'm in the day room. I'm watching the TV, and it seems like I don't know what it is, but for some odd reason, it seems like when I'm out in the free world, right? Either I'm not paying attention to the commercials, and I'm mostly paying attention to the show that I'm watching. So I'm kind of ignoring the commercials. But for some odd reason, man, what I can tell you is that when I'd be in that day room in the county jail, seemed like they'd show all the commercials of all the fast food joints and restaurants, man. And it'd be just when you sitting there that you're hungry. Because even if you got canteen, if you've been eating, your canteen or whatever, that gets old. And they're showing like a Whopper never looks so good. A 9-piece, 10-piece nugget never looks so good as when I'm sitting in that county jail in that day room. And here it is. My mind is saying to me, and I know it's God, but my mind is saying to me is that, you know what? The people that you were angry with, they're out there, they're eating probably a Whopper right now. Or they're eating, Chipotle right now. And here it is, you are in the county jail, and they're showing all the commercials, man. And you're saying to yourself, I've said to myself 1,000 times, boy, when these people call ATW, Jonathan Harris, pack it up, ATW. I don't care where I go, but my first stop is going to be to Burger King or whatever restaurant it is, but that's where I'm going. I'm watching these commercials. I can't wait to get out to get me a Whopper, boy. Woo! And man, let me tell you something. As soon as they say ATW, man, screw Burger King. Forget what Burger King, my butt. I want something else, and it ain't Burger King. Now, so again, I've experienced going through life with my anger, and I've been the only person that has suffered behind my anger. I mean, there are people that my anger has caused them, issues in life or hell in life, and they've had to adjust, or they've gone through, dealing with, these resentments against me, and I'm the worst person in the world, and rightfully so because of my anger. But at the end of the day, in all totality, if you really thought about it, was, the fact that my anger, man, it destroyed me, man. I suffered. Now, so back to choose your battles wisely. See, there's an old saying, if you don't feed it, it won't grow. And I heard that saying a long time ago, man, but I just could not control my emotions enough to not feed it. Yeah, I'm the best soil. I'm the best the stuff that you buy from Home Depot that you put in your grass or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm the best product, man. You know what I mean? All they had to do was, buy a box of Jonathan, man, and spread it all over the grass, and the grass would grow like wildfire. Like, you know what I mean? The grass would grow, man, I mean, so abundantly, the hedges would be tall, the brush would be grown, everything would grow Fertilizer. That's the word that I was looking at. I'm the best brand. I was the best brand fertilizer that you could purchase. Because I heard that saying a long time ago, man, if you don't feed it, it won't grow. But I'm so emotionally scattered and all over the place, man. I can't practice that. And that's some of the realest stuff I've ever heard, man. Choose your battles wisely. Everything does not require or deserve a response. And even in that, biblically it says it's in the Bible. It said, be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. I heard that scripture a long time ago. Be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. I heard that scripture a long time ago, man, and could not for the life of me practice it until I really understood it. See, there are some situations that we find ourselves in that the same mindset of the individual that we're dealing with at the time, we have to have the same mindset in order to acknowledge it, in order to understand it. The difference between me and an individual in how they behave or how they react is our reactions. Be as wise as a serpent. That means I have to have a snake mentality when I'm amongst snakes in order to understand how this snake is moving. But I don't because that lies in relations to my discernment, right? So I don't place myself in that position, right, to be as wise as a serpent but harmless as a dove. Okay, I see that that's a snake, and I'm gonna tell them how much I know that they're a snake, and I'm gonna tell them that they ain't crap and they ain't nothing, and they're a piece of junk, and da da da, all these things. No, absolutely not. Be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove, which means that I go in the situation, man, I'm surrounded by snakes, and I notice these snakes. They're all around me. I'm surrounded by these snakes. I understand that you guys are snakes. So my mindset is of a snake mentality to understand these snakes that are around me. But the God in me allows me to be as harmless as a dove. Yes, sucker, I see you. I see you, boy. I know what you up to. You're operating in what the Bible says with Satan. He came to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's the spirit that's within you right now. And if I try to battle you toe to toe, see, fire don't put out fire. Fire makes the fire bigger. The only thing that puts out fire is water. So if I don't take on the spirit of water, guess what? The fire is going to get bigger. If I stand toe to toe with the snake, it's not going to solve anything. Choose your battles wisely. It's not going to solve anything for me to stand toe to toe and take on the mentality of the snake and stand in a snake's mentality and stand toe to toe and fight you as a snake. I have to come in the spirit of water. Be wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. Harmless as a dove, for everybody knows that a dove isn't going to hurt anything. That's the water. That's what puts the fire out. People say, well, how are you going to let somebody talk to you that kind of way and you ain't going to stand toe to toe? You ain't going to fight for yourself. See, it's not even a matter of fighting for myself. It's a matter of me taking the gloves off, getting out of the ring with Tyson and letting God get in the ring and fight Mike Tyson. Because I have experience. I told you guys about my anger. I have experience with taking on the mentality of the snake. I have a lot of experience with that. See, sometimes I was dead right, but I was wrong. There were times that I was dead right, but I was wrong? How was it that I was dead right and I ended up wrong? My behavior, my reaction, my response was so over the top, that I blew up the spot. Be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. Sometimes, see, that's God's infinite wisdom. Sometimes I have to take a step back and allow you to operate in your ignorance, in your foolishness, and not even feed it. Spiritual discernment. That guy is in a place that the devil is inside of him. He came to kill, steal, and destroy. And see, what people don't realize is that, and what I understood, because I've seen people in halfway houses that are in drug and rehab, halfway houses, right? And, one person never likes to go back out and relapse by themselves. Ever. They always like to take somebody else or a group of people. That's how the devil works. The devil loves 2-for-1s. He loves 2-for-1s. If he's already operating in this person, guess what? When this person approaches you, the whole mission, the whole plan is to take you with him. Choose your battles wisely. The whole plan is to get a 2-for-1. Be ye wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. Choose your battles wisely. Everything does not require a response. Sometimes let them have that. They're ready to crash out. And they're looking for a partner to crash out with them. Let them folks crash out and get far away from them. Your life will be more peaceful. You'll be happier. I listen to a lot of rap music, and, some of it, yeah, of course, some of it has, a lot of vulgarity and different things in it, whatever, but, Cash Money, used to be a label. I don't know, I guess there's still a label. And there was this rapper on Cash, signed to Cash Money label. His name was Juvenile. And in one of his lyrics, he said, I'd rather see it on TV than rather see it in person. I ain't gonna repeat the rest of it. But think about that. Man, I'd rather see it on TV than see it in person. There's some folk out there ready to crash out. And they're looking for a crash out partner. Sometimes you have to be wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. You have to allow those people to crash out. I'd rather see it on the 12 o'clock news or the 11 o'clock news than me being in the 11 o'clock news with the individual. I'd rather see it on TV than rather see it in person. Yeah. Choose your battles wisely. Everything doesn't require a response. But anyway, I see a good friend of mine, Sylvia Hernandez. If you guys don't know her, she's not only a beautiful lady, she's a good person. Also, I see Terry Cherry on top. That's her Facebook name. My buddy Bobby Cognac was here earlier, along with a good friend of mine, Joe McGowan. He lives out, I believe, in St. Louis now. He's doing amazing things in life. His life is amazing. And I appreciate everybody that chimes into these lives, man, because, we do this together. You know, I say it all the time. I'm not up here and I'm speaking down here. That's why I speak based on my experience. If I come up with some theological stuff as far as my opinion, right, then I might be up here and you guys are here because I'm talking at you and not to you. So we are doing this together. So I appreciate everybody that chime in on a daily basis, man. You know, I love all of you. And until we talk again, peace.